from the crypt.
Hello, boils and ghouls. Welcome to episode 220 of Deaths from the Crypt. And it's going to be our 2025 year-end episode where we count down our favorite movies of the year and some of our other favorite things that came out this year. Joining me is Mondo.
Hey.
Hey.
Goodbye, 2025.
Yeah. Good riddance in 2026. We'll see.
Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
All right, and we also have Jody.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
It's good. I've stopped doing the, like this year's going to be my year because like for 10 years, it hasn't. So let's just not do that anymore.
I just want it to be a year. Just have
it be
a year of
I would love if
normalcy.
this year was boring. Like at the end of the year, we're like, what happened this year? I don't know, man. Nothing. Like nothing happened this year. No world-changing events happened in 2026.
No.
I remember on Christmas, how the report like, oh, we're fighting in Africa now. This is
Sure.
And granted, don't get me wrong, there are bad things going in the world and stuff maybe we should be getting involved in. But like, can I just enjoy Christmas without people dying?
A day, a single day.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I'm not even religious. I just celebrate Christmas because it's fun.
See, one of the fun things about being an adult at Christmas is things that you used to would get in trouble for as a kid become like family jokes now. Because my parents got us all little notebooks that they liked, and mine says brilliant ideas I had while smoking weed. Which I started thinking back 20 years ago, that wouldn't have been a joke. That would have been a real serious issue. We would have had a talk.
I thought I was going to be real smart one day and be like, all right, whenever I think of a funny joke or think of a good idea while I'm high, I'm going to write it down in my notes app on my phone, which I do. But then I go back and read it and I'm like, what the fuck is turtle penis? Like, what the fuck was I writing here?
Yeah, my biggest day after thing is when I'm listening to music. Like if I'm working and listening to music, I'm like, these are the best songs I have ever heard while I'm, high. And then the next day I go back and listen to them. I'm like, they're all right.
Yeah.
These aren't nearly as good when I'm sober.
Do you remember years ago when Family Guy did an episode where they started a band and then they got high as fuck and they're on stage like they think they're playing fantastically and then the reality they're just like vomit, basically burping into the microphone.
Yep. Speaking of rambling into a microphone, I just want to do a quick plug that we have some great content on our Patreon, the Deathstalker Patreon. We have mini reviews, usually between 10, 15, 20 minutes at the most, of some of the movies we're going to be talking about tonight, including Weapons, Companion, Ugly Stepsister, Him, Together, Begonia, and now latest is Good Boy. So yeah, go check that out. And also, this isn't a sponsored episode or anything, but just shout out to Fright Rags because they're always killing it. And, they've been supporters of ours for well over a year now. So just want to shout them out as well. So go check them out. They have some really great end of year deals you can get it on if you act real quick. So check those out as well.
They sent me, I got a card from them, like a Christmas card from them in the mail that with a little game on it you can play.
Really? I didn't get one.
Yeah. Maybe you don't order enough stuff from Fright Rags, Jason.
I've been sitting on them, to be honest. I even gave Jody one.
Yeah. The shirt, the Stranger Things shirt. That
was cool.
I was like,
Stranger
I knew I had
Warriors.
something I was going to mention. It's like a version of Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
Done with Stranger Things. It's awesome.
Yeah. You guys, I haven't watched the two newest, the Christmas Day ones, but I watched. I powered through the first four, and it's picking up. It took a minute to get its feet together, but
I like the first four. I'm saving the Christmas ones for New Year's Eve, so I'm going to watch that chunk and then watch the finale the next day.
I've watched none of it, but I have to because I have a ticket to go see the finale in the theater on the first, so I have to finish it before then.
Yeah,
and that was a hard ticket to get a hold of, surprisingly.
Sure.
Like I have Regal Unlimited, and like most of Showtime, I'm lucky. My wife doesn't like going to the theater, so I'm going solo. It's probably the only reason I'm able to go. And they didn't add it. It wasn't part of Regal Unlimited, so I had to actually pay $11 for it. But then they give me an $11 concession coupon or something like that. Yeah. So I'm gonna have popcorn for the first time in like a year.
Nice. Yesterday was Christmas. I didn't have anything to do, so I just went and saw the new Anaconda. And I don't think I've ever felt a movie was more made for me than that movie.
I got that vibe from the trailer.
If you're a middle-aged horror fan, you're going to enjoy this movie. Just because it just gets you there. Like at one point, someone has a poster for The Blob 88 in the background. I'm like, okay, I see you.
Man, Jason Minutes, I was at my comic book shop, and one of the kids there during October like knocks it out of the park with the horror movies he watches. But two first-time watches this year for him, and he doesn't know that I'm a huge horror nerd. We were just talking. It was Demon Knight and The Blob 88.
He's had a great year.
Yeah,
That's two of my favorites.
Unprompted, he started raving about how much he loved both those movies, and I'm like, I have a podcast for you to listen to.
Yes. Definitely. All right, well, let's get into it. We are going to be counting down our favorite movies of the year. If you're a fan of Blanket Horror, you're familiar with this format. The way it works is that the three of us made our top 10 list plus a couple honorable mentions, and I kind of did a weighting scale and put everything together. So I decided to only make it movies at least two of us voted for. So technically, this is the top 8 movies. So of our 3 lists, there are 8 movies that at least 2 of us voted for. But you are going to get a chance to kind of shout out your honorable mentions, just to go over those real quick.
This was a tough year for. This is a hard year to pick. I actually thought about this. There's a lot of good stuff.
To me, it was like a top 5 versus a bottom 5.
There were definitely some movies I think I guarantee are all of our lists. And there were some that I was like really having a hard time struggling. Do I put this one on here versus this one? Yep. And like I already know one of Jody's honorable mentions that I was thinking about on the way home when I was driving home from the gym, that I was like, man, that could have been in my top 10 too. So there's a lot of fun stuff like that this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think for my top 5, you could reorder them anyway. It's just really how I felt that day, and just yada. But yeah, I mean, we all know Weapons and Sinners are going to be the top of, are going to be on everyone's list this year, plus, a handful of others. But let's get into it. Jody, you're going to start us off with your honorable mentions. You gave me a lot, but your number 1 movie that wasn't on either mine or Mondo's list, and I even forgot this movie came out this year, which I liked it, but it was Hard Eyes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That it was my favorite movie of the year. So it may not have made our list, but so I loved a lot of movies this year, and we're going to talk about, Sinners, Weapons, all those later. But Hard Eyes is the one that every time I come back to it, and I've watched it, I think 3 times this year, because I watched it with different people. Like I watched it by myself, I watched it with one of my kids, and then with another one. It's a great time every time. It's a lot of fun. It's gory. The writing is really pretty clever, and the romance and the rom-com side of it actually works. Like it's an actual like cute movie. Like you could do a date night with somebody who is into excessive gore with that one. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And Jody, that was probably my number 11 if it was on my list. And by no means, and that's a movie I was actually just referencing, as I was thinking, I know Hard Eyes is going to be very high on Jody's list. And I'm with you. I thought that movie was fantastic. And I know it got a lot of grief online because people don't I think it's hard because people who don't like rom-coms, like I'm not a rom-com fan. Though,
I'm not either.
But that movie was fun and adorable. And at the end of the day, I was surprised. I was actually rooting for the hero and the heroine to live and survive. Yeah, which is rare in a lot of slasher movies.
Yeah, no, they're good. Like they have good chemistry. They're great to watch. Like I would watch more movies with those two. They're fun.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
All right. So Joey, that was the top on your list. Also, other movies that on your list that weren't on mine or Mondo's was The Monkey, The Long Walk, Toxic Avenger, and Influencers.
Oh, I haven't seen Influencers, but just to tell you,
I want to see that one too. I love the first one.
Toxic Avenger easily could have made my list, and so could have The Monkey. Those are other ones that I was really torn on.
Yeah, those are both Toxic Avenger and Monkey. They're just fun. I'm not a huge Oz Perkins guy because most of the time his stuff is a little serious and slow for me, but The Monkey was him actually having fun, and I really enjoyed that one. influencers, if you like the first one, you'll like the second one. Like it's just bigger and wilder than the first one, and it takes some very pointed, because the first one's kind of like anti any influencers. We just don't like the like vain, conceited kind of thing. This one goes specifically after some right-wing influencers, like manosphere stuff, and that makes it a little extra fun to watch those guys go down.
Definitely on my list. I meant to watch it this year, and I just have not gotten a chance to watch it yet.
All right, and then Mondo, some that were on your list that weren't on ours was Strange Harvest, Shelby Oaks, and Bring Her Back.
Yeah, man. Strange Harvest,
really good.
God, like I am a found footage. I love found footage movies. Like that's kind of my sweet spot, and it's really easy to make a bad found footage movie. And I think it's really. I'd say it's also pretty easy to make a mediocre one. But I think it's very difficult to make a good found footage movie that hits. And I'd want to say that it wasn't 100% found footage. It was done more of a documentary style. But I thought all the characters were incredibly believable. And anytime you give me a cult and you give me some Lovecraft mythos, damn it, I'm in. Like that movie.
Are you talking Shelby Oaks or Strange Harvest?
Oh, Strange Harvest. I'm sorry.
Oh, because that sounds pretty much the same as Shelby Oaks.
No, Shelby Oaks. So Strange Harvest was done more. You're watching a documentary.
Okay.
Strange Harvest was like if Netflix had no standards and showed all the gore from crime scenes. It's like an actual documentary, except for it's really intense in the visuals.
Shelby Oaks got a lot of grief out there because this is definitely like my kind of movie where I've said before, I can be a big style over substance guy. Whereas if you give me genuinely creepy atmosphere and scenes, I can let logic go a little bit because I can get lost in the moment. And Shelby Oaks is one of them. I mean, I can't remember the last time I was in a movie theater and I felt scared. Like that movie legit scared me. And because the way they do some of the pacing, the way they do some of the pieces where she's in a prison by herself in the dark searching for things, and the way they handle that I thought was phenomenal. If I have one complaint about that movie, even though I like the ending, they did something at the end that I just didn't like that too many movies do, and they used a real kind of almost a cop out in a little bit of a way.
Yeah.
But overall, that to me was one of the genuinely scary films this year. Same with Bring Her Back. Bring Her Back, dude, just bleakness. Like you don't watch that movie and walk out feeling good afterwards. And a couple of scenes I actually almost had to turn away from with the teeth in the glass. And I thought that movie was really, really well done. And again, it was also another movie where I found myself really rooting for the protagonist, and in which doesn't happen all the time in movies. So those are, I thought all three of those were great. And I always forget the brothers' names that did Bring Her Back, but those dudes, man. But they also are working on a documentary about deathmatch wrestling, and they went to Mexico and did this insane wrestling deathmatch, like with barbed wire and fire and glass, and
Shelby Oaks and Bring Her Back were like the two I crammed in at the end of the year. And I think Shelby Oaks, like the hype kind of didn't do it much favors.
I can see that. Yeah.
Oversold it by the time I got to see it. And Bring Her Back, I just knew it was heavy. And I couldn't find the mood. So I just forced myself to watch it, and it didn't really.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Bring Her Back yet, just because I have heard so many people that are like, this movie made me more anxious than any movie I've ever seen, which is great if I'm in the mood for that. Yeah. But man, I've got to be in the right mood.
Those movies for me, like, are really theater watches. Yeah, because I can kind of just get immersed in the movie where I tend to do, like, if I'm at home and would have put that on and it kind of made me uncomfortable, I'd be finding myself saying, "Oh, what's my dog doing right now?" Come sit on my lap to ease attention. Shelby Oaks, I think, also suffered from, everyone was saying it was a found footage movie, and it really wasn't. It starts off like kind of documentary style, but then goes into an actual movie. And I do think that jaded some people's judgment of it too. And it kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop when I went to go see it, but I also walked in there pretty blind.
Well, and I think some people were probably ready to not like it just because Chris Stokeman was a YouTuber before he was a director. And so some people just don't want to give YouTubers any credit either.
I don't even know people know that.
I didn't know
it was more
online
marketing.
Online
marketing just typed it as like the scariest movie of the year or something like that. And I was just okay.
And that's tough. And it's almost unfair to movies to be marketed that way. And I get why it's marketed that way, because you're trying to get asses in seats, for lack of a better term. I think too, we talked about it off air a little bit, but Dream Eater, another horror section film, which hey, I'm a big fan of John Schnars from Bloody Good Horror, but that movie just did not work for me. It had such good, scary like visuals and setting, but the acting was not amazing. But I think it's another movie that really suffered from because people were hyping it up as being like the scariest movie they've ever seen. And I was like, there's some scary stuff in there, but it's really hard to walk into a movie when you have that expectation of your head that I'm about to see something like vile or something crazy, and then you don't get that on the screen.
Yeah.
All right. My two biggest honorable mentions were Dangerous Animals.
Love it.
I love a good shark movie, and I love
Great.
just a crazy psychopath movie. And Jai Courtney just is way over the top.
Oh, he's so good.
And this movie is just very butt clenchy too. Like you're just like literally on the edge of your seat on a lot of these things because you're like, how the hell are they gonna get out of this?
I think this was my number 11.
Yeah, this is your number 11. Yeah, so that's a huge recommend. It's on Shudder. Go watch it. You'll be happy.
Yeah.
Serial Killer and Sharks. What more do you need? My number 11 or 10. I mean, I couldn't really figure out what to put here, so I just went with 28 days or 28 years later. Just for the audacity of that movie, just earns a spot. I like a movie that takes those huge swings, especially with like a third installments. I still have issues with it, but I just felt like it earned a spot for doing that. I really want to put Predator Badlands there, but like it's just such not a horror movie. And we have some genre movies on our list, but like that one just felt really non-horror. And also I couldn't remember if Red Rooms was this year or last year, but that's just still a movie that I saw at the very beginning of the year that I just think about constantly. It's just like stuck in my head.
I'm not pretty sure that a theatrical release. It came out in the festivals last year in 2024, but I don't remember when a theatrical came out.
Yeah, and just a purist, we're kind of going off like what was widely available this year. Not so much because like Strange Harvest came out in 2024, but didn't hit like streaming or anything until this year. Or even didn't it hit festivals in 2024. So that's why it's so if any purists out there like that didn't come out in 2025, well, we couldn't watch it till 2025.
Yeah. Also, these are all our opinions. If you have different ones, that's fine, but don't come at us.
And when I was making my list, I intentionally left off anything that was in festivals that hadn't made a premiere yet, just because it's not much fun to hear somebody talk about like, oh, this great new movie, you can't see it. It's impossible to see. It won't be out for 6 months.
Well, and one of the crappy things is even like we've experienced it at Chattanooga Film Festival is seeing a movie that we really enjoy and then we never see it again because it gets picked up and gets stuck in distribution hell or something like that. So it's always sad to hear. I remember like when I heard about Good Boy, and Good Boy I'll say would probably be an honorable mention for me. But when I heard about that, I was afraid that I was going to get stuck in festival hell because it sounded so fun and interesting. Not fun.
But Red Rooms is one of those movies I saw very early in the year, and I think about it. I thought about the whole year. So that's big on my scale. Is if I watch a movie and then almost a year later I'm still thinking about it, that definitely earns praise. All right, let's get into it. So again, we're doing our top 8s. So number 8s, and then I'm gonna switch off and on who's gonna speak about each movie. But number 8 is Frankenstein. That was on both me and Mondo's list, both incidentally at the number 8 spot, I believe, or 7. I think it was 7. It's not a perfect movie by any means, but once it gets going, hitting the halfway mark, once the monster shows up, it's just amazing. Pure Del Toro, fun. Netflix just gave him all the money and said, go make whatever you want. And, I'm really happy they did. I've watched. It's like also again, if I watch a movie of my own volition more than once, it like is automatically on my list, and that's a movie I definitely watched the second time. And yeah, great movie. We love Del Toro. We love Frankenstein.
Yeah, probably one of the most gorgeously shot movies I've seen all year too. And like I think what stands out for me is I love Del Toro in general, and I'm definitely I'll definitely always go to bat for him, but I think like just it's so visually stunning too, but also when you have kind of this beautiful backdrop, these horrific things happening, I think that contrast just works incredibly well.
Yeah, and again, the monster is just so well done in this.
Yeah,
I debated. It was very close to being on my list. It's a beautiful movie. It just didn't quite have the impact that some of the other ones did, but I really like. Visually especially it's a gorgeous movie.
Yeah, for sure. All right, number 7 is Final Destination Bloodlines. Jody, I want you to talk about this one.
Oh man, that one's fun. I mean that's really it. It's fun. Final Destination, you know, we've had 5 movies and 4 of them have been pretty decent. One of them was terrible. But I mean, terrible. Like one of them, like 1 star. But most of them are pretty good. This one I thought was just as good as like the highlights of the other 5. Like it goes back, it adds some new things to the mythology with, you know, it passes down through the families or like if you survive and have a kid, then neither you nor your kid should be alive. And so death comes for both of you. That's kind of a cool little twist on it. But mainly the kills were just really good. It was just some really good kills. That first scene at the Space Needle or whatever they call it in this, really great, really scary, but funny too, with, you know, a small child getting hit with a piano and the audience cheering. It's a good time. The MRI, the MRI, so good. Yeah, it's just good scene after good scene, set piece after set piece.
And just the Tony Todd set off is just like,
yes,
it's worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good send off for him.
It didn't make my list, but it was right there. Like I had a great time with that movie.
Yeah, I mean the fact that we're getting another Final Destination more than 20 years after the first one, it was this good, is made me really happy. So I was like, oh boy.
I think we're starting to see these filmmakers and producers that had this nostalgia for these movies, and probably like us, they're probably like, well, let's make it good.
Yeah.
Same thing with Saw 10.
And also, like, I think part of it, in the back on the behind the scenes on this one, like I think got pushed back because of the pandemic, and they got pushed back again because of the writer's strike. So it was a blessing in disguise that took so long to make because they could refine it more and more and make it. They didn't have to rush anything, and they had all the time they needed. So it benefited from that.
And it does a great balance of tension and comedy too, I think. Like the one scene with the glass in someone's cup of ice, where it's a big shard of glass, and it just goes on and on and on, and the whole time you're like, something's about to happen, and then when it does, it's not what you expect, but it's crazier and bigger than what you expected. And yeah, I love that.
I think one of those brilliant things was we talked about about marketing earlier, was that they put the trailers were just red herrings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the trailers actually showed you something, you were expecting something, and they got something different. I think it made it so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Number 6 on our list is actually my number 2. It is Companion. Again, this is a movie that came out relatively early in the year. The marketing was really well done, of like showing you a vibe but not really telling you what it's about. And I actually just happened to have the twist kind of spoiled somewhat before, right, like a day before I saw it. And it didn't matter. That's the mark of a good movie, where you can have this twist spoiled, but it's such a good movie that like it doesn't need to hinge on that twist. Again, it's a movie I've watched multiple times and I think about a lot, and it's just such a well done script. Very tight. Everything in it makes sense, which I love when they use everything that they kind of set up. I love the payoffs. And it's actually really funny, but it's also gory and disturbing, and it really runs the gamut.
And especially with all the advances we're seeing right now in AI, it really is topical for the current climate. And also, even it's a movie that does benefit, I think, from rewatching too, and multiple watches. Which, because I went in there blind when I saw it in the theater, and so I didn't know the twist. When I saw the twist, I'm like, I couldn't wait to show my wife and show my daughter that movie, because then watching it again with them a second time, and then even watching it a third time when they wanted to see it again, you go back and you start picking out little things. Because I think they set it up to where you kind of know something's off, but then it all makes sense when all sorts unraveling. But then when you rewatch it, you start picking out more things that seem just even almost non-consequential, but you realize, oh wait, this is a product of what's going to happen.
Yeah, just probably one of the best scripts that I've seen in a long time, the way they plot everything out. Chef's kiss. All right, number 5 is Begonia, Mondo.
Oh man, Begonia, I'm really upset I didn't see this in the theater, but Jesse Plemons, I just have to give it up to Jesse Plemons as being, my God, does he just know how to play the creepiest human being known to man? But in this movie, he's creepy, but he also has like this heart behind him. Like everything he's doing is because of what happened to his mom. And you can definitely tell he's someone who was going through a lot of trauma, and this is kind of how he's dealing with this trauma. And I thought the way him and his brother, the way they kind of bounce off each other was great. And then just the way it devolves and you kind of never know like what the truth is until you get to the very end. And then at that point, it's like, holy shit. And I don't want to give anything away or do any spoilers really on this. But I would say, like, I know Begonia didn't hit for everybody, and people were complaining about the direction it went. But I thought the direction it went was one of those where I remember I couldn't go to sleep after it because I was just thinking about the movie. When a movie does that for me, it's making my list. And my daughter just watched it too and absolutely had a great time with it. And same thing, like we need to talk about this movie now after it was over. So I was and it can be, you know, it's horror adjacent. I don't know.
It's horror enough.
Yeah, but I also look at it as like anytime you're talking about, you know, a corporation potentially causing the downfall of the world, you know, basically like an Amazon's type corporation causing pollution or whatnot. I think that's pretty fucking scary to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's not like horror traditionally, but there's more than enough horrific things happening in it and disturbing, and there's a lot of potential for even other things, and especially the way everything kind of shakes out. Which, yeah, again, like you said, I saw this at night. By the time I finished it, pretty much everybody was asleep. Like even online, I was like going to the BJ Slack. Is anyone awake? In the spoiler section, but so I had no one to talk to, so I just had to like sit with it all night. Like I couldn't sleep, so I wanted someone to talk to.
And the criticism I see on it, there are definitely some valid criticisms of it. Don't get me wrong, but when you can give me a story that I'm up until the last few minutes of the movie, I don't know where it's going. Oh yeah, but it's also kept me engaged and kept me excited to see what's going to happen. It's a winner in my book.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you seen that one yet, Jody?
I haven't seen it yet. I'm a little iffy with Yorgos Lanthimos. I haven't always loved his stuff, so I haven't given this one a shot yet, but I will.
It's interesting because it's probably like it's not Bliss, right? It's not as dreamy, as dreamlike as that, but his style fingerprints are all over it, in the best
style, but it's probably one of the more, I haven't seen all of his movies, but it's very straightforward in comparison to some of the
more
other
accessible than some of his other
yeah. I think if you showed someone this movie, if this is their first exposure to him, and then they saw Bliss, they wouldn't believe it was the same director.
Sure.
And I mean that as a testament to how well he did with this.
Right. Okay. Number 4 is mine. Number 1, it is The Ugly Stepsister. Again, this is one of those movies that like seems so obvious that someone should have made it. I don't know why no one thought of it sooner, but like it just works so well. It's just, again, a movie that sticks with you. It's body horror mixed with dark fantasy, fairy tale, with modern music kind of playing in the background, just kind of like keep it somewhat grounded. And it's like you're like wincing and you're laughing, and yeah. It's the retelling of the Cinderella story from the stepsister's perspective and all the terrible things she's willing to do to herself to get the prince in the end. And that there's that one part at the very end where she realizes she did something on the wrong body part, and I almost fell out of my couch laughing because I was like, oh my god.
And you're laughing at something that's very horrific to watch.
It's really horrific, but it's so funny. The way that it's just like it's been set up the whole time, and when you see it, you're just like, oh, okay. I think it's Norwegian, so which is even more like I want to see more of this director. Yeah, and again, I want to move and take me on a ride. So my top 3 were Ugly Stepsister, Companion, Begonia, and each of those took me for a huge ride. And that's what I want from a movie.
Yeah, Ugly Stepsister was I think it's cool when you can take a movie set in that fantasy world, make it darker, but still have it be very relevant to the societal norms that we see today, because it's definitely, you know, a commentary about our beauty standards and what we deal with, and even so, I remember hearing I think it was Matilda was talking about it with the Bloody Good Horror, and hearing her take on it, and from the female lens, I thought was very important. Seeing how they saw the movie almost a little bit differently, but how it impacted them, it impacted her even more because of what is, you know, impressed upon society. And yeah, I thought Ugly Stepsister, man. Or maybe it was Rachel. I can't remember who now. I feel like I'm a bad person.
But also that's like a thing that we've been hearing. That's like from The Substance and we see that all the time. But to put a new spin on it and tell it in a unique, refreshing way, that's just something makes it something really special.
And I think it was Rachel. I remember messaging her saying, yeah, the fucking, because remember she was most grossed out by the moldy food. And I was the same boat. That was a scene that I almost could not watch, was the moldy food, because fucking hate mold.
Oh, no, to me it was the worm.
The worm was bad too, but oh god, it was yeah, that's a movie. I think that's a movie that's almost akin to like a Salo, like 120 Days of Sodom, where it's a period piece really, or a fantasy piece, but these horrific things are just going on, and I wouldn't want to be eating dinner while watching it. I'm just gonna put it that way.
Yeah, this falls under the category for me of, it's sometimes hard for me to watch a good new movie that I know I'm gonna like when there are so many terrible old movies I could be watching, and so I just haven't gotten to it. It's I know I will like it. It's like When Evil Lurks a couple of years ago. It's like I know it's going to be my favorite movie of the year I finally watch it. I just hadn't yet.
But I could be watching The Prowler for the fourth time.
I could be. It could be. What about Killer Workout? You know, it's been a year since I've watched that one. I did watch that a few nights ago.
When people, I don't know if you guys ever watched The Good Place, but my wife loves that. It's a great show. My wife still watches a lot of reruns, but they kind of come to an end like where they've been in the afterlife for so long, they're just bored. And I was like, I couldn't even fathom that, because I would watch every movie I've ever seen again and then start back from the beginning. I would have a great time.
Yeah. All right. Next movie, number 3, is Deathstalker, Mondo.
Dude, this one was very close to my number 1.
What was your number 2? Yeah.
Yeah, and I honestly, my number 1, just for the record, was Sinners. And I think Sinners, that is a movie that will stick with me for a long, long time. Not that Deathstalker won't. But I think Sinners had a definitely more poignant message behind it, where Deathstalker's like, let's show you some cool shit with some cool monsters, some cool characters, and fucking just go for it. But I do think though Deathstalker is one of those movies that's going to be like, I haven't seen it in a month. Let's take an edible and watch Deathstalker again. Dude, Kostansky, definitely, his movies are my vibe. His movies like hit perfectly for me, and yeah, I can't say enough about what he's done and about what Deathstalker was for me. And like, I watched it too, and I don't want to talk about this when we reviewed it, but I watched it when I was having a really, really kind of rough time, where I'd been, we had lost our dog, and we had been through a lot of shit, and was on travel for work and everything, and just like, you know what, I still remember thinking like, I need to get through this movies, I need to review it. And then I fucking just had the best time, and I remember it turned my mood around, and I was just fucking smiling ear to ear for the first time in a little bit. And if you can do that with a piece of film, like, you're gonna be high on my list. And not only that, like, anybody's been listening to podcasts for a while will know, especially Jody and I are very forgiving to bad movies if they're fun. This is also not a bad movie though.
No, it's not.
It's actually a really good movie that just happens to be a shit ton of fun.
But it's just in the genre that many people consider bad. And also, it's based off a movie that isn't very good.
It's not very good. Yeah.
I recently watched the second Deathstalker movie of the original series, which everyone says is like, quote, the best, and it is really low budget. And like, there's a part where like there's a wide shot of this camp. You can see cars from in the corner of the screen because they're just setting up at like some public area. So it's like, it's that kind of, the original is that kind of filming. So to take it in just this crazy ass direction and to treat it so seriously is really cool to see.
Did Corman do the second one too?
I think he produced.
I think he produced them. He didn't do the first one, but I mean, his company produced them.
Oh god, just wondering. But yeah, and I can't say enough good things about Deathstar. I talk about that movie for forever.
Well, so many directors and producers, they're trying to like remake stuff from the 80s and like get that 80s feel, or they're trying to make the next like cult classic. I think Kostansky actually gets how to do that in a way that other ones can't. Like, you watch his movies, they are cult classics the day they release. People are going to love them for years. They're never going to be the biggest movie that everyone talks about, but there's going to have a loyal, devoted fan base forever. And I'm always down for anything he makes.
Like, I definitely have, like, almost every day I see someone in some random Facebook group I'm in is like, oh, have you seen Deathstalker?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's just something that's going to spread like over time.
It was kind of interesting is I love The Void, and The Void is so much different than what he did after that. And if you tell people like he did The Void, they'll be like, it kind of throws them off because they don't realize, and like, oh, wait, I can actually see that because it does have his fingerprints on it still. Just not. I think he found what he really loves to do, and I'm on for the ride. And man, fuck, I just want to do like I want to do like a Kostansky fest in my house now and just watch all of his films.
Let's do it. Yeah, and like also kind of what Joe was saying, like people are trying to talk about remakes all the time and how bad they are for cinema, but like it's the only thing I keep saying was remake bad movies and make it good.
Yeah,
which is harder than just taking IP and just slapping something a new paint on it. But this is the exact example of that. We're taking a movie that's not really good, has like its charm, but do something new with a technically bad movie.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, there's how many movies have we seen that's like, man, that was a good idea, but the execution wasn't good.
Right.
And I think that's really what people should be looking at remaking. Like find a movie that, like you said, was not good, but had a great idea at its core and expand upon that. And I think that's what he did.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Number 2 is Weapons. Jody.
Yeah, Weapons is great. It does a great job of throughout most of the movie, I genuinely had no idea what was going to happen. Like, you trying to guess where the plot's going next. I could not. They kept surprising me over and over. A lot of times I hate when movies try to be too cute with like, okay, now we're going to like show the different perspectives and stuff. Like I was not a fan of Strange Darling a few years ago. Like it felt pretentious to me. This one though, every new perspective gave you some more information. It built the story up. And what really sold it for me, though, is the climax. Is once you finally get all this story together, things go absolutely batshit for like the last 15 minutes of it. And the scene, I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's still new enough, but with the chase scene. The chase scene is one of my favorite things I've ever seen. It's so much fun.
With you.
So, yeah, excellent.
That end of it, I mean, it turned almost, the tone shifted, but it worked so well. And it could have easily not worked. But because of the way they built it up, that tone shift, it worked in that it was humorous, but still also very violent and very angry and very dark. Yeah. But it interspersed and there was throughout this movie, there was these little pieces of colorful humor, but they never felt forced. It always felt like it was just organically like something somebody would do. Because like if my house got destroyed from stuff happening, I'd probably the same reaction as that guy at the end. Like, what the fuck just happened? So dude, I think Weapons, I think is my number 3, and it could have easily been my number 1. My top 3 are pretty much interchangeable.
Well, then after so much build up, I mean, I feel the joke already there, but it's a release once things go wild at the end. Like there's a lot of building up, and then once things really go for it, it's very satisfying. Okay? I told you the joke's already there.
All right, time for a shower.
You just feel spent afterwards, like you just released everything as you had in your body, and it's
boy. All right, speaking of build up and release, our number 1 movie is Sinners. Mondo.
So I know a lot of people were arguing about, is this horror? Is it not horror? And I definitely see it as this amazing film that's trying to like, I watched this movie, dude, and this is one of the few movies that like just fucking blew me out of the water in every aspect of it, every which way it went, from the music to the visuals to that fucking scene in the middle where it's going back in time and you're seeing these black musicians and really putting the spotlight on that culture. And like, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I get all of it, because I don't. Like as a guy with my complexion, it's not gonna have the impact on me, but it's one of those things that you can understand the cultural impact is going to have on people that see it. And like, and I really kind of sought out opinions of people of color. Like, I want to know what they thought of this movie. And the fact that like, I had a couple of friends of mine that were like, fuck, I cried during that movie because it was showing like my culture's history. And when you can do that, that movie gave me goosebumps. Not a whole lot of movies do that. And I know people are arguing about, like, I hated the fact that people were saying this ripped off from Dusk Till Dawn, because I'm like, they are completely different movies. No. Aside from the fact they had vampires. That is vampires in a small space, people fighting them. But the movie was so much more than that, and it used the vampires and the supernatural to push a very specific narrative. And it was less about the fact they were vampires and more about the effects they were having on the people inside that building. I don't know what more to say about that movie except for like best soundtrack of the year, best score of the year, visually gorgeous, performances fantastic, and the story is much more. There's so many different layers to that story that I couldn't do it justice in a 2-minute conversation, and I'm probably not the right person to even try to do it justice. I'd say realistically, if you want a really good breakdown of that movie, go find go find some horror podcasters, influencers, people of color that can really talk about that movie at a level that I'm not going to be able to, that I don't even want to try to. Sinners, though, man, like that's a movie I will be watching over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the scene you were mentioning there, where the kid comes and plays the first time, and it goes back and forth with like black music all the way back to Africa, up and like to the future with DJs spinning records and stuff like that. That's my favorite scene of anything I've seen this year. That one's, it's not horror, it's just a powerful scene of filmmaking. I understand, and probably why it didn't make my number one, why Hard Eyes beat it, was the horror aspects were kind of downplayed. Like I never really felt like the vampires were like necessarily even bad. Like they were just like a different thing that maybe they didn't want to be a part of, but like they seemed kind of like, you know, they were anti-racist vampires. So, you know, they're at least okay in that respect. But, you know, it was, I feel like there was a lot of catharsis there. I feel like seeing the ending scene when after the vampire threat has been dealt with, a much more realistic threat gets very handily dealt with in a way that's very satisfying. And I just, it's just good filmmaking.
Yeah. This movie this screams cinema.
Yes.
And if you guys do really want to see, like, I should have mentioned too, like, we've had him on the podcast before. The oh my god, the Black Girl Nerds.
Yeah,
cool. You can go to their YouTube and find a really cool breakdown of Sinners that they do. That can talk about it way better than I ever could. But definitely seek out people that don't look like us for their opinions on it, because fuck, dude, that movie hit deep for a lot of people.
Yeah, so I definitely feel like a lot of lists are coming out or have come out. I think Sinners and Weapons are going to be like the two consensus, but there's a lot of these other mixture, because there's some great. This might have been like the biggest year ever, but I think it's very top heavy.
There's a lot of
movies that came out.
I think a lot of years we get those like this. I think like I say the top 20 movies of the year were all like could have easily been top 10. It was one of those years where we didn't get a ton of amazing content, but what we got was great. What we got was very solid, if that makes sense.
It's actually a lot. At least when I'm looking at our list, it's also very original. We have like one is a retelling of a classic fairy tale. One is a sequel, and the other, I guess, the other one is another adaptation. But there aren't like any like Halloween movies or like any like real big tentpole movies.
Yeah.
I mean, we got another freaking Conjuring movie, but I don't think the horror community, like the at large, didn't seem to really care. I think the general population did, but I don't think it's gonna make that many top 10 lists.
There's still a place for movies like that though, because you got to think like the kids that are in like. All of us have that memory of the bad horror movie we saw that kind of got us into the genre, right? Mine wasn't bad though. Mine was Nightmare 2. Just saying. But we all those memories of those movies that we know weren't good, but they still were kind of like our entryway and got us into horror. And they're gonna be, there's gonna be we're gonna be dead, and there's gonna be some 40-year-old podcasters talking about how like The Conjuring, Last Rites, or whatever got them into horror. And there's always gonna be a place for that stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, and again, plenty of people saw it, way more than most of the movies on our list. So
I just hate when I tell them I'm into horror and they're like, "Oh, have you seen The Conjuring?" And I'm like, "Son of a bitch." It's kind of people. You're into metal? Do you like Five Finger Death Punch? And I was like, I have way too I don't have enough holes in my drywall to listen to that band. So.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break and do a shout out. And I know we just did this one, but it's just I have to do it again.
I know.
Hey, I'm Steve Kostansky, writer director of Psycho Gorman and Deathstalker, and you're listening to those hunky boys over at Dad's from the Crypt.
Should I just make that be like every week?
I wouldn't be against it, but I do think, Jason, you should put that one though on our Instagram if you haven't done it yet.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. That's by far
Um,
like every shout out we have is cool, but that one is like warms my heart so much.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that one and this one, I can't choose. I'm gonna play both.
Oh, do one
Hey
more.
guys, I'm Lulu Wilson from Becky, and I have two things to say. Nazis can fuck off, and you are listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Also warms my heart.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Maybe I should just go ahead and play like all the clips I collected this year, and then do like a supercut.
Our year-end
That
review.
should be pretty fun. That should be kind of a cool thing to release for our Patreons.
Yeah, maybe. Or yeah, we gotta think about that.
And if anybody's offended by that actress's statement about Nazis, you can just go walk into traffic because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
All right. Mondo, usually give us the song of the week, but give us some songs and albums of the year.
Well, I want some albums from you guys too, because I was put on the spot, and
Pretty
which is
much,
good. 'Cause I didn't have an album of the week, but
all new music I listen to is usually a soundtrack from a movie that came out this year or something you recommended.
there's nothing wrong with that. So, because I
I
recommend
don't think my Spotify right now, so give me a second.
I recommend nothing but fire over here. But, if you want a soundtrack wise, the Sinner's score and the soundtrack released on vinyl this year, get them. Magnificent. Probably my two favorite records were a band, a long storied history, Paradise Lost, who released one of my favorite records of all time, Draconian. Excuse me. Jesus Christ. I took a sip of drink there and did not go down right. But they released an album this year called Ascension, which blew me out of the fucking water. So Paradise Lost, Ascension might be my top album of the entire year. It's a band that's reinvented themselves many times over the years, from early death metal, doom metal, to being almost like when they released Draconian Times, they kind of joked how they felt. Some people said that's like the best album that Metallica never wrote, but it's way better than any Metallica album. And I hate to say it. I don't mean as a knock on Metallica. It's just legit better. But they've gone back to death metal, and this album Ascension just kind of feels like they took all the best parts of all of that and put it together, and it just hit perfectly. Which sometimes when I see new records coming out by bands that I love, I'm very apprehensive sometimes, because sometimes I'll look at them with rose-colored glasses. But I was very happy that a lot of people I know also called that their favorite album of the year. And then there's this kind of weird black metal band called Gates of Dawn, and the record is called 3 because it's their third album, and it's this fusion of like black metal and like psychedelic rock and some folk in there and just a bunch of random shit, to where I remember putting that record on and just kind of just being passive listening to it, and then having to stop what I was doing to actually sit down and listen to the whole record because it caught my ear that much. And that might, for originality, I think that's probably the best record I've heard all year. And it's one that's really stuck with me. So I'll give those two as my nods of both albums of the year. If you asked me to do a top 10 list, that'd be very difficult because I don't remember that far back and didn't do any preparation. Testament, old school Bay Area thrash band, released a new record this year, and they actually have a song basically that's talking about fuck AI. So good on them. But that album actually blew me out of the water too, because it's another band that's reinvented themselves many times, like with 1999's A Gathering, or even before that with Demonic and Low, and more of a death metal direction. And The Gathering kind of fused both those elements together. That was from 99, and that was probably their best record. But this new one even has like some blackened death metal like elements to it. And I love that. I love it anytime you see these old bands are still willing to introduce new things into their music to make it more interesting. But those are some of my favorites this year. And anybody wants to comment on our post and tell me what you guys like listening to this year, please do, because as much as I am very much rooted in the metal genre, and that's has always been my love, I'm very open-minded to music. Certain genres, I'm like, if someone recommends me some mumble rap, I'm just not going to listen to. I'm not going to lie, because I don't think it's a good genre. But I love like dark folk. I love music that kind of just will speak to me, and I don't think it has to be metal to speak to you. And there's a lot of music that I will respect. And Jody's posted some stuff before that I'm like, this is not I will never listen to this again, but I feel it and I get it. You know what I mean? But I respect it. I get what they're doing. And I get why people like this. It doesn't have to be for me, and that's okay. And I do have an appreciation like that of music, though, just in general. So as much as like everyone hears my picks, all this fucking underground metal satanic bullshit, I I have a true appreciation for all music, and it doesn't have to be my cup of tea for me to understand where they're coming from and for me to respect it and like it. And every now and again, I'll find something I love. Like right now, my record player right now, you guys can't see it, but it is a Charlie Brown Christmas from the Vince Guaraldi trio. That's what I was listening to yesterday as I built an inversion table.
Very solid album.
It really is, man. There's a great a YouTube montage that my daughter sent me about why Snoopy's an asshole. And there is this guy on Twitter and Instagram, and he like disappeared, but he would do these voiceovers of these cartoons and be like, imagine you're a bald ass kid, and he would just go like, he would talk about these stories, but I still remember he always say like, and meanwhile your dog's over here giving himself PTSD by fighting in World War I. I remember seeing that thing. That was the funniest shit of all time. But yeah, like I'm always interested to hear what people's takes are, like what they really enjoyed listening to, because there's like, it's really easy in our 40s to be like, oh, there's no new good music comes out. Well, that's fucking bullshit. A lot of new good music comes out. It's just you have to be willing to search for it and be willing to look for it and be willing to find it. And I think we're in this stage of just consumption of media in general, where we consume in these very, very short spurts. Meanwhile, you have people really pouring their heart and souls into great albums, and they're out there. You just got to take the time to look for it. And and I hate to say this, but if you're looking for it like on Threads or whatever, like on Instagram, like you might not find it. You have to really kind of dig deep sometimes and find genres you like, find bands you like, find writers you like, and see what they're listening to and get into it. Lord knows if I ever actually made a playlist, you might find some good stuff. Maybe that'll be my goal. I'm off the next week. I'll make a 2026 Dads from the Crypt playlist, or 2025 Dads from the Crypt playlist.
I love how much access we have to new music nowadays, because even if it's harder to find, it's right there. Like all you got to do is type it into the right search box and it's there to listen to and to check out, and back in the day when I had to go pay $15 for one CD, the music options were limited. It's unlimited right now. And so I personally, I always like trying new stuff and seeing what I can find, just because there's so much out there.
You never know, man. And like one of my favorite artists, Amigo the Devil, I found because I was at a tattoo shop and heard it playing on a speaker. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then next thing I know, I'm down a rabbit hole. That's how I discovered Deltron 3030 and fell in love with that record. And it's a double-edged sword, because in this time of quick consumption, it's really easy just to listen to something and go on to the next thing. The other thing I'll tell people out there is, if you really appreciate an artist, and I'm not talking about like fucking Taylor Swift or one of these major artists that is going to make $1 billion. But if you find a smaller artist and you really enjoy them, go to their Bandcamp, wait for Bandcamp Friday, buy their record, buy a t-shirt. That's how you support these artists. You don't support them by streaming their music. I hate to say that, but that's just the reality of it is. Use streaming as your means to listen to that artist in your car, to whatever, but fucking buy a ticket to their show, buy a t-shirt, buy an album directly from the band. And that's how you really support them and can help them keep doing what they love to do. Because without their support, like, this all crumbles. Like, if all you want is AI bullshit and fucking major label albums, like, cool, by all means, don't support any artists. But if you want like the small artists to really thrive and make more music, throw a few bucks their way, get some merchandise, get a ticket, and support them.
Yeah, and also like, I think we're being pushed to taking what an algorithm is giving us, which is an easy fast food way to do things, but find someone like Mondo that I trust and who knows my taste, and who'll give me, I know won't steer me wrong, at least intentionally. And
I just thought they're what I like, and if people like it, cool. If they don't, like, I'm not gonna ever defend my taste.
I appreciate that you drive a lot of my musical listening throughout the year, so I just want to thank you for that.
Jody's like, not mine, but
hey, that's fine though.
To be fair though, I have hit Jody up with stuff being like, I think you'd like this. I think this might be in your wheel.
And I've definitely checked out plenty of the stuff, and there's been things that I've listened to and gone, this is really cool. Added it into my rotation. So yeah. I'm a musical omnivore. I like a lot of different stuff,
I noticed based on stuff you post on the Slack channels, like, and I really appreciate that. I love people that have that eclectic taste of music, because that shows an appreciation of just the medium as opposed to just tribalism within the genre. So what did you what'd you come up with this year?
Yeah, so a couple of albums that I really liked this year. There's an artist that, as far as I know, she's brand new, or maybe she's had one album before. Her name's Michaela Greer, and she was a former ballerina who is now a pop singer. But it's really good pop music. Her new album or EP, I guess, is called Hot Pot, and it's very listenable. It's very good pop stuff, and it's it's just good, like enjoyable music to put on. I also really like a band called Father of Peace. That they're an Israeli band, but they've actually spoken out against some of the stuff going on in Israel. They are in Israel, but they sound like System of a Down mixed with some other poppy type stuff. It's a 3-piece band, 2 guys and a girl. They're really good stuff.
I've seen these guys before because the dude's crazy hair.
With the crazy hair, yeah. He showed up on my TikTok algorithm. But I went back and started listening to some of their other stuff, and it's really good. It's really inventive and odd music, and that's generally what pulls me in if it's something I haven't heard before, Those are the 2 big ones. I was looking to see what else came out this year. Because that Omnivore, I'm listening to stuff from a few years ago half the time.
Yeah.
I didn't know was from a few years ago. It's new to me. So I'm trying to keep 2025.
Yeah, I think this is such a crazy busy year for me. I didn't really take in a ton of new outside of movies.
Mhm.
So I'm looking forward to getting back out there in 2026.
What's funny is I'd have to look at my Discogs because I do buy a shit ton of physical media, and that's how I discover a lot of new music. I'll generally listen to it on streaming first, because just to hear like, oh, a snippet, is this my style? Then if I think it's cool, I'll go buy the record. Like, I actually have a stack of stuff that I'm probably gonna, after I record this, be like, fuck, like I should have added this band on there too. But because there's a record I got by this band called Sunken, their new album, that it's just a snippet I heard online, and I'm like, well, I have to buy that because that sounds out of this world. But much like you, Jody, even like within the confines of what I really love, I really like when it's something like Gates of Dawn, again, a band that was so out there that they caught my ear. Like, I need to stop what I'm doing and listen to this because it's unlike anything I've really ever heard this year. So
yeah, absolutely.
Now I thought we'd take a quick look at some movies coming out to look forward to in 2026. Coming very soon is the 20 years later sequel to Bone Temple by Nia DaCosta. I'm very curious about where they go after the audaciousness of the last movie. We have Scream 7. It's kind of a reboot in a way, a reset after the kind of the last couple of movies. Very curious to see where they go. I'm a big fan of the original Scream, so I'll always show up for it. We also have Ready or Not 2. We just recently got the first trailer for that. Looks
Definitely
really good. Great cast. We have The Bride from what's her face? Gyllenhaal.
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
That movie looks wild. Like,
looks
in the best
wild.
way possible.
Yeah. Looks fun. We have a new Evil Dead movie, supposedly Terrifier 4. Robert Eggers' Werewolf is supposed to be. It's slated for, but I don't know. I haven't seen any, like, if they're filming or what the status is. This movie called We Bury the Dead that's getting some hype. Hokum, which is from the person who did what's the movie? Oddity,
yeah. And Caveat.
Really
very excited
good.
for Hokum looks wild.
It does.
Let's see. The new Exorcist might come out next year. Again, these are all kind of like maybes, but the new Resident Evil movie, I think, is being filmed right now, actually. So it might come out late next year.
The Primate movie.
Primate.
The ape that they have, like, adopted looks really pretty scary, honestly. Apes are scary.
So yeah, I saw like a promo for that, and actually, I think it's the director is deaf, so he like wanted to make a movie that like played with your senses in the way that he felt senses. So I'm very curious about that.
Okay, that makes me more excited for it.
Yeah. We've got another Quiet Place, another Five Nights at Freddy's. I guess they did the back-to-back filming. Possibly a new Final Destination. We'll see if that one comes out or not this year or next year. Maybe I saw, but I don't think they even started filming that. I think they were still working out the director. Send Help. I think it's a new Sam Raimi movie. Or I think a different one.
I don't know.
Send Help's a different one. There's another one by Sam Raimi. With like Stuck on the Desert Islands with Emily Blunt.
Oh, that movie looks pretty crazy.
No, Rachel McAdams. Sorry. Yeah, that looks really good.
Yeah, that looks pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we got a lot of really, really good things to look forward to.
I got a new puppy this year.
Oh, that guy. And then like every year there's always gonna be, stuff we haven't even heard of, we don't even know about, that's like, just hiding there in plain sight for us to find. So
Usually my favorite movies are ones I've never heard of until they show up all of a sudden.
Yes. All right, before we wrap up, any end of year advice you guys would like to give?
You know what? Everyone's gonna see all these end of year people on social media. They're like, "This is all the stuff I accomplished this year." You know what, dude? If all you did was survive this year,
yeah,
good for you. Like, you don't have to do a million things. This dog is a gremlin, by the way.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too because I was thinking like I haven't really played that many games or listened to a ton of music, but again, I survived a major fire. My first colonoscopy. There's a lot of stuff that I made it through this year to get here, and I'm like, I just made it. I'm happy for that.
That's okay.
And we kept the podcast going, and then we have cute little guys. What name did you decide on?
She's Ladybird.
Ladybird. I got Chug. We've got plenty of things driving us.
No new animals for me this year, but I think sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves with it being the end of the year, both in like what we feel like we should have accomplished last year or what we need to accomplish next year. And sometimes, man, just do your best. Just do your best. Whether you accomplish everything on your list or not, it's not important. Just do your best and try to, enjoy it along the way as much as you can.
I don't even have a list.
No.
I was gonna see what fucking happens. Every year I put one thing on my New Year's resolution is to not. My goal is just not to get addicted to meth, and I have succeeded every year. So I'm gonna just roll with that again this year. And if I fail, well, fuck, maybe I at least had a good time.
I don't know. After our last few years at Chattanooga Film Fest, I think the only place left to go is to get high on meth because we've overdone weed too much. So it's time to move on.
Maybe go back and do it completely sober this year.
Shut up, Jason. This year, just straight heroin. That's all we're doing.
Yeah. Dropping acid before every movie. Go. And again, I just want to first of all thank you guys for showing up every week, most weeks for the podcast, and thank all of our patrons and all of our wonderful guests, and again, shout out to Fried Rags and all of our great listeners. We really appreciate it. Would we do this without listeners? Yeah, probably, but it makes it more fun knowing someone's listening.
It's cool when you hear people like me, my friend now Matthew at Maryland Death Fest, and seeing people that are fans of the podcast, and it's kind of surreal. And I think about it a lot because you have how many podcasts you guys listen to weekly that they almost feel like they're parts of your family at this point because you hear them talk about their stuff, and like it's kind of crazy to think there's people that have been listening since the beginning that like think of us that way, and it kind of blows my mind a little bit, but it also like makes you want to never stop doing this.
Yeah.
I want to really quickly give a shout out to Zach, just because he recently commented that hearing us talk about him on the podcast made him feel happy, and that makes me feel happy. So Zach, we're talking about you again. So
that's another thing, man, that like just like a little bit shy. I don't know the right way to put it, but it kind of took me back a little bit in a good way, in a very, very good way, man. And yeah, so thank you to everyone out there that's ever downloaded our podcast, giving us a listen. It's just really appreciated.
All right. Well, as always, we appreciate everyone for listening. We would really appreciate if you would give us a rating and review on iTunes, a rating on Spotify, like, subscribe on YouTube, and follow us at Dads from the Crypt Talk on TikTok. And for the last time in 2025, we thank you for listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Follow Dads from the Crypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. or I will follow you to the grave. No, seriously, you really should watch. But be careful what you ask for. You may get it.